Some secrets are buried for a reason. Some truths are too heavy for the ones we love. But what if you discovered a secret your family never wanted you to know? Tonight, I bring you a tale that will change everything you think you know about family, trust, and secrets. It is a story of betrayal, mystery, and revelations that were meant to stay hidden forever. Grab a drink, settle in, and prepare yourself. Because what I am about to share will keep you on the edge of your seat. I grew up thinking my family was perfect. My parents loved me, my siblings adored me, and our home was warm and full of laughter. But sometimes, small things did not add up. I remember the first time I noticed it. My mother, sitting on the chair in the living room late at night, holding a folded piece of paper. Her hands trembled slightly and she seemed afraid. I wanted to ask her what was wrong, but there was a tension in the air, a warning unspoken. Instead, I smiled and walked past, pretending not to notice. Then there were the phone calls. Whispered conversations that stopped abruptly when I entered the room. The locked drawer in my father's study that I was never allowed to open. And the way my sister's eyes would dart nervously whenever our parents were talking in hushed tones. At the time, I told myself it was normal. Every family has secrets, right? But deep down, something felt off. Something I could not put my finger on.
It all came to a head one rainy afternoon. I was cleaning out the attic when I found it. A small, dusty envelope tucked behind a stack of old photo albums. My hands shook as I pulled it out. My name was written in careful, familiar handwriting. I hesitated. Should I open it? My heart pounded. Curiosity battled with fear. Finally, I tore it open. Inside were letters. They were written by someone I trusted deeply. Each one told a story I was never supposed to hear. A story of secrets my family had hidden from me my entire life. I remember reading one line and freezing. We thought it was best you never knew, but now it is too late. I sank to the floor, tears welling up. Why had they lied? Why had they kept this from me? The room seemed to spin, and suddenly every memory felt tainted. Every smile, every hug, every word of reassurance. It all felt different now.
I could not keep it inside any longer. That evening, I confronted my parents. My hands gripped the envelope tightly, my voice shaking. I should have known before now. Why keep this from me all these years? My mother's eyes filled with tears. My father's hands clenched, trembling slightly. We thought it was for your protection, my mother whispered. We never meant for you to find out this way. The confession was slow, painful. They revealed a tangled web of truths, family betrayals, long-hidden debts, a distant relative whose existence was erased from memory, mistakes no one wanted me to know. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But I stayed, listening, absorbing every word, every pause, every tremor in their voices. And then came the part I never expected. A revelation so shocking that it left me gasping. One of my own siblings had been complicit in hiding the most devastating secret of all. Just when I thought I had accepted everything, the final truth emerged. Another letter. This one unseen before. It revealed the ultimate secret, the one that tied all the others together. It was my parents' own decision. A sacrifice I could never have imagined. They had hidden the truth not out of malice, but out of love. The betrayal I felt was intertwined with a hope I had never understood. I stood in the living room, holding the letter. Tears streaming down my face. Shock, anger, sadness, and finally, an overwhelming sense of clarity. Some secrets are indeed buried for a reason. But uncovering them, and now, I share this story with you, hoping you feel every twist, every tear, and every heartbeat as I did. Later that night, after Emma had fallen asleep, I sat alone in the living room. The photo of my birth mother lay beside the old letters. As I sorted through them again, one envelope slipped free, one I had not seen before. That is when the final revelation began. The house was silent again. That kind of silence that presses against your skin. Heavy and alive, Sophia had not slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw her sister's face. That look of half-truth and guilt. She had gone to bed with her clothes still on. The photograph still clutched in her hand. The one she would found inside the box labeled, "Private." Morning light crept in like it was afraid to disturb the past. Dust motes floated in gold beams from the old window. And Sophia rose, her eyes red and raw from crying. Downstairs, the coffee pot hissed and sputtered. Emma was already awake, sitting at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a mug she had not touched. For a long time, neither spoke. Just the sound of the old clock ticking and the low hum of memories between them. Then Emma whispered, "You were not supposed to find that picture." Sophia had found the picture of her and Emma together with their birth parents. She had found out that Emma was her biological sister. Sophia's voice broke when she answered, "Why, Emma? Why did you hide it from me? That is Mom, is not it? And that man, who is he?" Emma looked down, her knuckles white around the mug. It is our father." Sophia froze. She had known it deep down. The truth had whispered at her for years. But hearing it out loud still hit like a blade. "Our father," she repeated, her voice cracking. "The man we buried was not." Emma shook her head, tears streaming now. "Number the man that we called uncle was not our uncle. He was our biological father." The room tilted. Sophia's heartbeat roared in her ears. Emma slid the box closer. "Mom wanted to tell us herself one day. But when she got sick, she made our mom promise to protect us from it. She thought the truth would destroy us." Sophia stood up, shaking, anger flaring through the grief. "Destroy us? Lying did destroy us. They let us believe that strangers were our parents." Her voice broke again. The sound of it made Emma wince. Sophia turned away. Her name was written across it in her mother's handwriting. Trembling, she picked it up. "Did you know about this?" she asked. Emma shook her head. Number Sophia unfolded the letter carefully, the paper thin as a whisper. Her mother's words flowed like a prayer. "My dearest Sophia and Emma, if you are reading this, then I am not there to tell you the truth myself. I made mistakes. Not out of malice, but out of love. I wanted to protect you and Emma from the pain I carried. The people you knew as your father and mother, who chose you both, your father and I. But I need you to know, Sophia and Emma, your identity is not defined by blood, but by love. Do not let this truth destroy the bond between you and your sister. One day, you will understand why I kept it hidden." The words blurred through her tears. She read it twice, 3 times. And then, for the first time since the truth came out, she did not feel anger. She felt grief, but it was different now. Softer, weighted with compassion. Emma reached across the table, her hand trembling. Sophia hesitated, then slowly placed her hand on top. "Maybe we both deserve to know the rest," Sophia said quietly. "Let us go to the attic. There is more up there." Emma nodded. Together, they climbed the creaking stairs to the attic. The same attic where they would played as children, building forts out of old sheets and pretending to be queens of their own little world. Now, every step echoed like a heartbeat. Dust coated everything. But in one corner, beneath a tattered quilt, was a trunk Sophia had never seen before. Inside lay another box, this one with their biological mother's wedding ring, a small baby blanket, and a faded photograph of a man standing by a lake. Sophia turned the photo over. There was a note on the back, "For my girls, someday Jay." Emma looked at her, eyes wide. "Jay, that must be him." Sophia's voice was barely a whisper. "Our real father." They sat in silence. The truth finally laid bare between them. And then Emma whispered, "Do you think we should find our biological mother?" Sophia looked out the attic window. The same one their adopted mother used to sit by when she prayed. "I do not know," she said softly. "But maybe that is not what this is about. Maybe it is about forgiving what is already gone." She held the photo close, the morning light catching her face, and for the first time, she smiled. Just a little, because the truth had not destroyed her. It had freed her. The attic still smelled like cedar and dust. But something inside Sophia had shifted. The anger had burned out, leaving only questions and a fragile hope. She traced her finger over the faded photo again. The man by the lake was not their father. She could feel it now. There was something different in the way their mother's handwriting trembled on the back. Then Sophia noticed something she would missed before. A corner of another picture tucked behind it. She pulled it free. It was not a man. It was a woman. Long blonde hair. Eyes soft but distant. She looked young, maybe early 20s. On the back, one word was written in the same familiar script. "Forgive." Sophia's breath caught. "Emma, look." Emma took the photo, studying it with trembling hands. "That is Mom." Sophia shook her head slowly. "Yes, she looks so much like us." The sisters exchanged a look. The kind that says everything without words. That night, Sophia could not sleep. The house was too full of whispers, the kind that come from old walls and old secrets. She got up, turned on her mother's old laptop, and started searching. It took hours, names, dates, addresses, until finally she found something. A hospital record from 28 years ago, the year she was born. Her adopted mother's name was there. But beside it, another name, Julia Emerson. Sophia froze. Julia. The initial on the photo, J. By morning, she had an address. The drive took 4 hours. Neither sister said much. Emma drove, gripping the wheel tight, and Sophia stared out the window, clutching the photo like a lifeline. They passed long fields, old barns, and empty highways until finally, the GPS announced they had arrived. A small white cottage sat at the end of a gravel road. Roses climbed the porch rails, and wind chimes whispered in the breeze. Sophia's heart pounded. "Are you ready?" Emma asked. Sophia nodded. Though her hands were shaking, they walked to the door and knocked. A few moments later, a woman opened it, older now, with streaks of silver in her dark hair. But her eyes, those soft amber eyes, were exactly like theirs. She froze when she saw them. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice trembling. Sophia swallowed hard. "Are you Julia Emerson?" The woman's hand flew to her chest. "Who are you?" Sophia took a step forward and held out the photograph. "I think you are our mother." Julia's knees gave way. She grabbed the doorframe for balance. Her face pale. Tears welled instantly. "Oh, oh Lord," she whispered, pressing a hand to her mouth. "It is you. Both of you." Sophia's tears spilled over. "You knew about us?" Julia nodded slowly, a sob escaping. "Not at first. They told me you both died. I was so young, I was not married. They said adoption was best. I tried to find you, God knows I tried, but the records were sealed." Emma was crying now too. "We thought Mom was our real mother." Julia stepped closer, reaching out, her voice breaking. "She was. She raised you. She gave you what I could not. But I prayed every night that one day I would see your faces." Sophia stepped forward, letting Julia's trembling hand touch her cheek. It felt like home and heartbreak all at once. The three of them stood there. Three women connected by love, lies, and grace, crying together on the little white porch. Later, they sat inside the cozy cottage, the air thick with memories and forgiveness. Julia showed them an old Bible, its pages worn thin. Inside was a letter she had written years ago but never sent. It read, "To my daughters, I do not know where you are, but I pray for you every night. I ask God to send you comfort and love, even if it is not through me. If we ever meet again, know this: I never stopped loving you. I never stopped believing that God could turn even the worst pain into something beautiful." Sophia wept silently as she read it. When she looked up, Julia was watching her with a tender, tearful smile. "You look just like me when I was your age." Sophia smiled through her tears. "Then maybe there is still a part of you in us after all." Julia took both their hands and whispered, "No, my loves. There is a part of God in you. That is what held us all together." Outside, the chimes sang softly in the wind, like a song of mercy. And for the first time in a long time, Sophia felt peace. The air in Julia's cottage felt sacred somehow. Like every breath was borrowed from a prayer once whispered into the walls. Sophia and Emma sat on the old floral couch, their hands still trembling from the shock of meeting the woman who gave them life. Julia sat across from them, clutching a teacup that had long gone cold. Her eyes glistened as she finally said, "I never thought I would live to see you both sitting here. But I need to tell you something your adoptive mother never had the chance to explain." Sophia's heart tightened. Emma reached over, holding her hand. Julia took a deep breath. "The woman who raised you, your mother, Evelyn. She was not just a kind stranger. She was my best friend." The words hung heavy in the room. Sophia blinked. "What do you mean?" Julia smiled softly, the corners of her mouth trembling. "We grew up together. We met in church when we were just 15. We dreamed of being missionaries, of helping others. Evelyn was always the strong one. Always steady." She paused, her gaze drifting to the window as if she could still see that young girl she once was. "When I found out I was pregnant, I thought I would ruin everything. My parents disowned me. The baby's father left. I had nowhere to go." Emma whispered. "So you went to Evelyn?" Julia nodded. "She took me in. She said, 'You do not have to do this alone, Julia. God does not abandon his children.' She helped me through every month. But when you were born, there were complications. I nearly died. And Evelyn, she was told I had not made it." Sophia gasped. "But you did." Julia's voice broke. "I did. Barely. But when I woke, they told me Evelyn had taken you home, that it was what I would wanted. By the time I recovered, she and her husband had moved across the state. Adoption papers had already been signed. And back then, there was no undoing that." Tears streamed freely down her cheeks now. "I tried to find you for years. I wrote letters, prayed every night. And Evelyn, she must have known it would all come to light one day. That is why she kept that photograph. She did not want you to hate me. She wanted you to understand." Sophia's voice trembled. "So she knew?" Julia nodded. "Yes. She knew I was alive. She found out years after. We spoke once, years later. She told me she loved you both more than life itself. She said, 'Julia, I am raising them the way you would have wanted. They know Jesus. They are safe.'" The room fell quiet except for the sound of wind chimes outside. Emma's lips quivered. "She never told us any of that." Julia smiled gently. "Because she did not want you to live torn between two mothers. She wanted you whole." Sophia covered her mouth with her hand, sobbing softly. "She gave us everything, and still carried your secret." Julia set her cup down and reached for their hands. "You have two mothers who loved you in different ways. One who gave you life, and one who gave you a life. Do not let that love become a wound." They sat together for a long time, holding hands. The three of them crying, not out of grief, but release. Then Julia stood and walked to a cabinet. She opened it and pulled out a small wooden box. Inside was a gold locket, delicate, engraved with the initials and E. "I had this made when you were born," she said softly. "One locket, two names. Because in my heart, you were always together." Sophia took it, tears spilling down her face. Emma traced the engraving with her fingertip. Julia whispered, "You were never forgotten. Not for one single day." The sisters embraced her, all three weeping. And in that moment, surrounded by love that had survived years of silence, something holy filled the room. Forgiveness. Not the easy kind. The kind that hurts, then heals. Sophia felt it wash over her like sunlight after rain. For the first time, she was not searching for who she was anymore. She knew. A month later, Sophia and Emma stood at their adoptive mother's grave. Julia came too, placing white lilies at the headstone. Sophia whispered, "She would have wanted this. All of us together." Julia smiled. Tears glimmering. "She is smiling right now. I know it." The three of them held hands, the wind gently stirring the leaves. And in that sacred stillness, it felt like Evelyn was right there with them. Her love stretching across, binding them all together. If you resonated with our story, please leave a comment below. We would love to hear what you thought of our story. Subscribe so you do not miss our future stories. Thank you for listening.